Hi, good evening. We're now in chapter 9, and we're going to be dealing with verse 7. But I want to give a little bit of background because from verse 1 through 6 is dealing with and the introduction to the idea of Pesach, and even we're going to get into Pesach Sheni. But Pesach is the Pesach offering in the wilderness, starting with chapter 9, verse 1, although we're going to focus on verse 7. Hashem spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the second year of their exodus from the land of Egypt, in the first month, saying, V'yidaber Adonai el Moshe b'midbar Sinai b'shana hashenit l'tzeitam me'eretz Mitzrayim b'chodesh harishon leimor. The children of Israel should make a Pesach offering in its appointed time. V'yasu b'nei Yisrael as a Pesach b'mo'ado, in its appointed time. And when is that? Ba'arba esher yom b'chodesh hazeh, on the 14th day of this month, bein ha'arbayim, in the afternoon, tasu oto, they should do it, b'mo'ado, in its appointed time. Kikol chukotav, like all, according to all its decrees, v'chol mishpatav, and all of its laws, tasu oto, that's how they should do it. Yidaber Moshe el b'nei Yisrael la'asot et Pesach. And Moses spoke to the children of Israel to make its Pesach. V'yasu es ha-Pesach b'rishon b'arba osur yom l'chodesh bein arbayim b'midbar Sinai kekol asher tziva Hashem es Moshe kein asu b'nei Yisrael. They made the Pesach offering in the first month, on the 14th day of the month, in the afternoon, in the wilderness of Sinai, according to everything that Hashem had commanded Moses, so the children of Israel did. Now we are at our verse, actually still the next verse, but there were men who had been made impure by a human corpse and could not make the Pesach offering on that day. So they approached before Moses and before Aaron on that day. V'lo yochlu la'asos ha'Pesach b'yom ha'hu v'yakrivu l'ifnei Moshe v'lifnei Aaron b'yom ha'hu. So they come to Moses and Aaron and say, well, they're about to say what they say, but they're obviously upset that they cannot do the Pesach offering. Those men said to him, we are impure through a human corpse. Why should we be left out by not offering Hashem's offering in its appointed time among the children of Israel? V'yomru ha'anashim ha'hema elav anachnu tmeim l'nefesh adam lama nigro. Why are we being diminished? Why are we any less than everyone else? Why are we being left out by not offering the korban? What is the root of the word offering, hakriv, at the korban? It is to come close. They also want to come close to Hashem. Who wouldn't want to come close to Hashem? B'mo'ado, in its appointed time, b'toch b'nei Yisrael, among the Jewish people. So Moses' truth was, he didn't know. Moses said to them, V'yomer eleihem Moshe, imdu, v'eshma'a ma yitzav Hashem lachem. Stand, and I will hear what Hashem will command you. So obviously, Moses went, spoke to Hashem, and Hashem responds to Moses in verse 9. Hashem spoke to Moses saying, V'yidaber Hashem el Moshe leimor. And this is the law of the Pesach Sheni, the second Passover offering, which is done on the Yudal, the 14th of Iyar, that's 30 days following the first Pesach. And we know that this is for individuals who are impure. Not only, as we will see, Daber el bnei Yisrael leimor ish ki yiyeh tameh lenefesh. If any man, okay, speak to the children of Israel saying, if any man will become impure through a corpse, o b'derech rachocha lechem, or he's on a distant road, o l'dorotechem, right, or whether now or in your generations, v'asu pesach l'Hashem. He shall make a Pesach for Hashem when, as it goes on and tells you, in the second month, on the 14th day in the afternoon, on and on. Okay, So the Kli Yakar begins by saying like this. Why, right? Lama nigro lebilti hikriv. They asked, why are we diminished? Why are we being left out? Why can't we make this offering? Okay, so yesh makshim. There are plenty of people that ask this question. This is something that should bother everybody. V'chi ne'alamehem shetamei asur ba'achilus kedashim. By now, at this point, this is definitely after the first of Nisan. It's sometime during the first 2 weeks of Nisan. We don't know the exact day because our Parsha began, if we look at chapter 8 in the beginning, actually I shouldn't say chapter 8 in the beginning, but I'll tell you where. In chapter 9 in the beginning. It was in the second year of their exodus from the land of Egypt in the first month, but it doesn't tell us the day. Now, what they could have been, it couldn't have been the day before Pesach. They have to prepare. So, in other words, why is this even bothering me? What day is it? Of course, we want to know what day it is. If it was the first day or any day during the first week, certainly they could have become purified by the ashes of the red heifer, of the para aduma, because it takes a whole 7 days to perform. Okay? So that process would have been done and they could have done that. So somewhere after the first week, but before the 14th, this must be taking place. It's my educated assumption based on different opinions in Chazal as well. And now we're asking, what, they didn't know? So the first of the month, of course, by then everyone had to know because the tabernacle was already erected and korbanos were already being performed. And of course, nobody could be eating korbanos, these offerings, in a state of impurity. So of course they knew. And the Passover offering has to be in a state of purity. So what was bothering these people that they didn't know? So this is a little bit difficulty because we already have a Gemara that tells us Shalomad min ish ish, right? We learn from the verse that says, remember the answer that Moses said to him in verse 10? Speak to the children of Israel, saying, if any man will be impure, ish ki yiyet tameh lenefesh. Not just that, also on the way, far away. But we learn from that verse that an individual is pushed off till Pesach Sheni, but not the tzibor, meaning if the entire congregation, when I say the entire congregation, I mean to say if a majority of the congregation is spiritually impure through a dead body, then the whole tzibor, all of Am Yisrael, will make the offering of Passover in its appointed time on the first month, the 14th day, but not the individual. But one second now, according to what was brought down in the Midrash, Shemin Yitur Shel B'Moado, from the superfluous, from the extra word, B'Moado. We actually saw that a few times. In its appointed time, the fact that it says the Pesach needs to be brought in its appointed time, that when the entire congregation, again when I say the entire, I mean a majority of the congregation is impure, they will bring the Korban Pesach in its appointed time, which means on the first month, on the 14th day. And he says, V'lo kasha midi, this really solves all of our problems. However, I think it really brings out more problems. See, after the fact that they actually heard the word b'moado in its appointed time, Amru, they said, this is when they said, Lama nigra min hatzibor, why are we any less than the congregation? Meaning to say, if the entire people, or a majority of the people of Bnei Israel, are spiritually impure through a dead body, they get to bring. Now the fact that just because they're not and we are, we don't get to bring. So Uba Hatashuva, and he comes and answers, meaning within the Medrash, and also here by Moses, who's responding to their query. Ish, that's the problem. Dafke ish nidche v'lo tzibur. It's only going to be the individual, ish, any man, an individual person. That's who's going to be pushed off from the first moado in its proper time and be pushed off to the latter date of Pesach Sheni, but not the tzibur. The tzibur is never pushed off. If majority of the tzibur's congregation is in a state of spiritual purity, they bring it in its time. Vehevinu hanashim. And what did the people understand from all this? Midik'amar Moshe el b'nei Yisrael lasos Pesach. From the very beginning, when Moses told b'nei Yisrael, that means the children of Israel, that means the congregation, to make the Pesach, v'lo lehem b'fratut. But he didn't tell as an individual you had an obligation. It's a national obligation. Shema mina shehotziosa min haklal. They realized, they understood from that they were excluded because the individual law was not yet told. The im lo came, because if you don't say such a thing, lamai nafka mina amar l'vnei Yisrael lasot pesach. You must learn it like this, or what difference would have made that Moses spoke to Bnei Israel to do the Pesach? He actually uses the words he spoke to Bnei Israel, which means the whole congregation. Were they not already commanded and ready to do it? Rather, this is coming to exclude those who were spiritually impure through the dead bodies. Al Kain Amru, and that is why they responded with the reaction, why are we less? Why are we not included? Why are we pushed off? Why are we, less than everyone else? That we cannot participate in coming close to Hashem.